What's up, everybody? Welcome to Theory Unlocked, episode 16. I'm Drew Bosley, one of your hosts. And the baby face beside me is my good buddy, Michael Fisher. Fish, what's up, buddy? How are you, man?
Oh, not much. Another day. Well, not really in paradise when we get to the main topic of the show, but I'm excited to see what's going down. You know, we went from all good in the world, all happy, fuzzy vibes with Summer Game Fest to what we're going to talk about today, Drew.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a rough road as of late, right? We just come off, like you say, a Summer Game Fest, great showcases all around from PlayStation State of Play, kicking things off, and then ending with a little bit of a dull window for me personally with Nintendo, but things in between, SGF, Xbox, and then Xbox comes off a high, and then we ended up this week in just turmoil all around, right? So, but yeah, we'll get to that, but let's get into today's show. We'll be talking about the biggest news topics of late, and as of today, GTA had dropped a trailer, Michael. We'll
kinda.
Dude, we'll talk about that one. You're gonna be talking about Bungie and well, speaking of layoffs, right? From there, we'll get into what we're playing, and of course, big topic of the show is the current fall of Xbox, and we'll wrap up like we always do each and every week here. We talk about 2 indie spotlights. Well, Michael, let's kick it off, my friend. Before that, though, if everybody hasn't checked it, we were actually live for the first time ever right now, checking it out over on the Gamerz Theory Substack, and we're gonna see how this rolls, dude. I'm kind of excited. This is something that is a newer platform for us, but it's also a new thing for Substack themselves, I think, in the live streaming side of how they're gonna function and expand as they progress. But for everything else, you can also hit us up during our Substack, at our Substack, and thegamerstheory.com. Michael, let's get into today's big reveal. GTA 6 didn't exactly give us the trailer we had hoped for, right? And it's said in the trailer, which I got called out on today, and I'm like, whatever, man. Like, when people saw a new trailer drop, everybody was like, oh, damn, here we go. The trailer was just a tease of the reveal of the cover art. I was like, man.
Yeah.
I was hoping for so much more. Like, so we got that, and then we got the GTA pre-order date of June 25th. So there's a little bit of extra info there, and then I was hitting up on LinkedIn this morning. So I posted this article I made over there, and everybody's like, kind of thinking the next trailer. Actually, before I get to where they thought their next trailer was going to drop, Michael, where do you think Rockstar will drop trailer number 3 that matters the most to us?
I mean, it would make the most sense if they were any other game to do it the day of or the day before pre-orders, right? Kind of build that hype. But you and I have talked about it a lot, right? You know, there's not really anyone going to be swayed by a trailer, I don't think, from GTA. It's like either you're going to pre-order it or you're going to buy it or you're not. So I guess the optimist in me really hopes it is June 25th, right? Pair it with the pre-orders, right? Kind of build that hype. But I wouldn't be shocked if maybe they even wait a little bit. If Take-Two really wanted to, right? You drop it in September when all these other games already moved, right? And you just kind of steal everybody's thunder. I don't think they're that vindictive, but no. I'll go the safe route, Drew. I think it'll either be the 24th or the 25th of June, right? Like either the day before or the day of, right as pre-orders go live, a trailer drops. That just makes the most sense, and that's how literally everyone else would do it. But as you and I know, nothing that Take-Two has done with GTA 6 is how anyone else would do it.
Yeah, when it comes to just the juggernaut title that GTA 6 is, nobody needs to even think about that game. Everybody's just going to pre-order it regardless, right? Do they need another trailer? They don't need to show us another trailer from now until the game launches. Like, we've had 2 trailers, by far already sold. It doesn't even matter. There's so many people. It was funny. My buddy is here, and he's like, so I said to GTA, he dropped a new trailer. He goes, whoa. And I said, well, it's really just for the cover art. He's like, oh, right? Just high to instant crash. But it's one of those things. That's how hyped GTA 6 is, because it's been 13 years. The thing for me is that Strauss Zelnick signified and it's come out and stated that, you know what, GTA 6 is launching this year. Marketing starts summer. That is the biggest thing for me, is that, hey, they're locked in. They are locked in for that November 19th date, and they've started now to roll out their marketing plan. Over on LinkedIn, the person hit me up and said, yeah, they think as well as you, Michael, that is the 25th, is that we'll get the trailer, the third trailer, right? And then it'll break the internet once again, and it'll have, I don't know how many millions of views on YouTube, but it'll be one of those moments where it just crushes the internet, and then they end the trailer with pre-orders are live now, right? Like that's the lead into,
exactly.
which is pretty standard marketing 101 at the end of the day, right? Like we've talked about that numerous times but again, it is Rockstar. They don't need to do this. It's just up to them if they want to do this. I think that's the biggest thing, right? So yeah, it doesn't really matter when they drop the trailer. Everybody's pre-ordering anyways. So just get in line is what it all is, right? It's just get in line. Yeah. But coming off of a high, going right down to a low, Michael. What do you
we're going to talk about it with Xbox here and later on in the show, but it is not just Xbox that is having these struggles, right? Coming off the highs of Summer Game Fest. It was announced, well, rumored, I should say, according to French journalist Sylvain over on X, that Bungie will be expected to lay off 50% of its staff this summer. He does go into a little bit of detail. It's kind of interesting, right? Again, layoffs are never fun, but he at least claims from his sources there's maybe a little bit of a revenge plot here, and that Sony apparently blames Bungie for the struggles of their games as a service strategy. So we'll see there. But the one thing to me, Drew, and again, not rooting for layoffs. I'm not saying this is a good idea.
Yeah.
But you look at Bungie right now, 800 employees roughly. They have one game. They canceled Destiny 2, and it's Marathon. Unfortunately, you just can't, I don't think 800 people need to be working on Marathon. There's nothing even rumored that's in the pipeline. So if there's even anything in development from Bungie, it's so early. So unfortunately, this is one of those where you kind of look and you're like, yeah, I'm even shocked that 400 people are still going to be around, right, to just work on Marathon. It brings a lot of questions. Why did you cancel Destiny 2 if you have all these people, right? You got to pay them to do something.
Yep.
And Marathon's not been doing very well. So again, my hearts go out to everyone who eventually is affected by this, right? Again, this is expected to come later on this summer, but you have to wonder what's going on at Bungie, Drew, if we've got 800 employees and we have one active game title.
Okay, so here we go right now. 800 employees. Almost 9,000 people playing on Steam. 9,000 people, man. Like, so I saw a tweet go out by Jeff Keighley this morning, and he said, what's your most anticipated game? And then from there, people are talking about The Witcher 4. They're talking about GTA 6. They're talking about this, that, and the other. And then a sea of comments was, give me Destiny 3. Bring back Destiny. It was just Destiny. And it's just continuous, right? It's like, holy crap, man. Did PlayStation and Bungie go backwards? Like, what a reverse move to then suddenly sink the ship that launched Destiny into where the stratosphere has become, and it becomes such a huge title, then to get into Marathon and have 9,000 people right now in the middle of the afternoon playing Marathon on Steam, which I think is their lowest platform, or lower compared to PlayStation. Xbox, I wouldn't even. It might be a couple hundred, maybe. Like they don't give us the numbers there, right? So it's hard to tell exactly. But at the same time, man, this is bad. This is really, really bad. But everybody affected, not likely the ones at the top, Michael.
No,
right? Like that's the big ones up top are still going to collect their money, and then they're just going to go home. Right, but it's everybody who's made the game are gonna suffer.
Exactly.
It's definitely heartbreaking to see that it didn't take. It was such a weird direction though, Michael. From when they first revealed like the concept art, this dark gritty tone, to then this bright neon infested landscape of just odd mechanisms, and just, man, I had such a hard time. I have a buddy, David Carcassoli, love him dearly, loves Marathon. I'm like, man, you're like one of the few that I know who actually like this game. And he's like, I know, right? He knows he's not in the pool of well-populated games right now, but he says it's so good. I never had a problem with the gunplay. I think the gunplay mechanic that Bungie always produces is fantastic, and this is no different. But the game itself just did not come together. There's been so many other people leaving Bungie because of Marathon, And now we get into the layoffs, and all these people are going to get axed, and it's just going to be such a heartbreaker again to watch our industry, which is funny because it's now at the top of the peak as far as entertainment form goes, and is bringing in more billions of dollars than it ever has, and yet there's more cuts than there ever has been as well. Like, it's such a weird point. We're going to continue this conversation on as we get into our Xbox situation. But man, absolutely disappointing, frustrating to see. And it's just, I hope they're able to figure out and bring back the magic that made Bungie so popular when they first released Halo and then got into Destiny. Michael, you got to think you just cut Marathon out. Like, they've lost hundreds of millions of dollars already on the game. There's no point in putting any more resources into this title that isn't producing. You're not making your money back at all. Shouldn't the company just shift over to Destiny 3?
It's got to shift over to something, right? I mean, again, you look it up, right? There's no rumors of a game that's even in the pipeline. It's not even like a project name, right? Which tells me that if there's anything even happening at Bungie, it's so early on that we're still years away, right, with the current state of game development. So
crazy.
I mean, maybe you put Marathon in the most profitable maintenance mode you can, least amount of people, making sure you're just doing updates, at least still trying to cash in on people like your buddy, because you said they're still like, what, 9,000 on Steam?
Yeah.
40, 50,000 maybe overall if you want to be generous, because as you said, Steam is their lowest one.
I think that's pretty high.
I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice. Yeah, maybe, cut down and really hammer out a Destiny 3 or whatever your next title is going to be. But to me, this feels like just the end of Bungie, right? Because as you said, Marathon's not making any money. Destiny 2 shut down. Like, eventually, Sony's going to say, look, you're just bleeding us money with all your staff who, aren't working on anything that you and I can see, at least.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think this might just be the end of Bungie. And in the next couple of years, Bungie will join the ever-growing list of studios whose doors are shut, unfortunately.
What a weird turnaround to see this kind of phase for Bungie and for PlayStation as a whole, right? Which then makes me kind of question the move of Naughty Dog to shut down Factions too. You trusted Bungie. Let's look at the state of Bungie right now. Do you think you really should have listened to them, or should you given us The Last of Us Part 2 Factions 2, whatever they would have called it, right? They said it was one of the most incredible experiences ever. Never saw it. Like, man, they were chasing the live service trend though, right? And this is where it's put them in this. Then they had Concord come out. 2 weeks, gone. That was the end of Concord. So then all of a sudden they see all this money get invested and no return. I think one of the safest bets they ever could have made was with Factions 2. I think that was just an easy money-making juggernaut of a title for not only Naughty Dog to help then fund Intergalactic, The Last of Us Part 3, maybe Uncharted 5, wherever they want to go from there, but then help PlayStation 2. Like, it's such a weird move. You listen to Bungie, and now Bungie's about to get half the staff that they currently have. Get cut now. Like, it's Michael, it's so disappointing to watch, right?
Yep.
Hopefully this will turn around, but all those people now will not have a job. All these people then have to take a look and go, do we want to stay in this industry?
Yep.
With everybody else who's getting cut off, because we'll get to that in a minute as well. But before we get there, Michael, what have you been playing, buddy?
Well, you've been talking about this, and I think you'll probably say that you've been playing it as well. But MLB The Show, slowly, just like you've been chipping away. I think I messaged you the other day. Man, it takes so long to finish a season in Road to the Show, man. I'm just trying to chip away. I think it took me like 4 to 5 hours to finish one season. So I think I'm about year 3, year 4 right now up in the majors. So having fun, but man, sometimes it just takes forever, Drew, just to get through one season. And I'm like, I don't know how people do this. I don't know. I've been going on Reddit. There's people like, I'm going to try a shortstop this time. I'm going to try a third baseman this time. I'm like, how do you get through one? How do you get through one, man? Like, how have you finished one career? It's crazy to me. But other than that, put the early review out on our Substack, on our Gamer on the Gamerz Theory out the other day. Outward 2.
Yep.
Still been playing the early beta. Of course, they, as I put the review live, Drew, they announced the game has been delayed all the way until 2027. Early access was supposed to release July 7th. But as I mentioned in my review, there are some pretty nasty bugs, especially when it comes to the multiplayer, which is what I've been playing with a buddy. Did not work. So I'm glad they did. I think it's going to be better in the long run, but the early access demo, if you got in, still available. So I was plugging away at that a little bit. I love the game, man. I'm super pumped. And I think this is one of those games where, as much as I'm bummed about a delay, I'm like, yeah, I was talking to my friend who was playing with me, and he's like, thank God. Because he's like, I was having fun, but I don't know if this game would have released well. So shout out to them for recognizing, hey, we can't charge. I think they even said, like, we can't be happy charging you money for this game. I think they made the right choice. Curious to see where it falls in that 2027 because it's already backing up in February, like we know, Drew. So I'm curious where it falls, but having an absolute blast. And then the trend you've liked done, I'll save my last game for the end here for the indie spotlight.
All right, fair, because I've done the same thing too. Yeah, I've been jumping into the Steam Next Fest demos because there is like a ton to try and get through. It is freaking ridiculous how many games come out, right? So with so many games coming out each and every day, it's hard to kind of keep up, but kind of plugging away, chipping away, trying to get something to cover there and figure out what clicks and what doesn't, right? And it's so hard to weed out the good from the bad, but been working away at that. Yeah, just like you, MLB The Show, working on my character, trying to get my... Dude, I don't even know if I finished the season. Like, I just keep... I may have just rolled right in, honestly. I may have just rolled right into the next one. I'm not in majors. I'm still down in AA, trying to get into AAA and work my way up. I'm like, man, I'm playing every single game all the way here. So let's see what happens. I don't know. But it is fun. Like, 1 minute I'll be on the biggest high. Like, my first bat, I jacked it over. I'm like, ha, nice. I'm back. Nice. And then the next game I went 0-4. I was like, I'm out. So it's like, what do you do, right? Like, welcome to the baseball. That's just the way it goes. So I feel like I'm playing for the Jays already. So that's that's who we watch every day. But it's just one of those things. Jump in, play a couple games, and then I move on, bounce out.
Yep.
I've been playing one game right now, which will be ending off my indie spotlight. I'm playing that with two buddies. I can't wait to talk about that one. That has been a lot of fun. And then Rainbow Six Siege is like a nightly event around this house. So my wife and I will always jump on, like I say, and play that. So yeah, a lot of games. A couple things I'm working on for review. I've got a review coming up for Frontier Legends. I've been trying to get to, and it's Outward 2 is what I would place this at right now. Dude, it is not in a good spot. It is in a heap of trouble right now. So I'm curious to see what they can do to then fix this and get it. A lot of people are calling it an asset flip. I can see it. Right? Ooh. But there's a couple other systems and mechanics. I'm like, this is just not working. It really is not working. It's not coming together. So we're going to figure that out. I'll have my full thoughts hopefully up next week. I was hoping to do it this week, but I got bombarded with a bunch of stuff. So that gets pushed. Buddy, let's get into topic of the show, the current fall of Xbox. Man, this is going to be a long conversation because...
Yeah.
So Xbox comes out. They have Summer Game Fest, and it is a blast of a show. I think you and I rated it as our favorite. So,
100%.
For us, for the Summer Game Fest showcases, Xbox Game Showcase itself was our personal favorites. They came out with some great announcements. They revealed Xbox exclusives are back. They revealed a game called Senua, which apparently was already closing the studio doors while the trailer was revealed. How mind-blowing is that, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was basically they cooked up a trailer, and basically I think the thing I read was, we hope somebody invests based off this trailer, and if not, as you said, the studio doors are closed, which makes me start to question a lot of those other trailers we saw, right? It's like, okay, how are these games going to happen? It happens every time, right? Yeah, there's going to be a trailer for a game that doesn't happen, but as you said,
sure,
to basically release a trailer with the studio already assumed to be shutting down that's a brand new level of low for this industry that I didn't think we'd ever actually get to. It's mind-blowing when I read that.
So some people are coming in and saying Asher Sharma's in there to shut our Xbox.
Yeah.
Right? Do you feel that statement's true?
I think there was. I mean, we see it all the time, right? Somebody new comes in, right? And you know there's going to be big changes. So yeah, I mean, I think there are people who are like, yeah, right when Asher Sharma started, right? She's going to come in and she's going to quietly kind of wheel Xbox into the night, like a hospice doctor was kind of one of the quotes going around, like this.
Wow. Yep.
All right, on to the next. And you know, it started out so well, right? It was all the positive. I think, yes, I think this was known, right? I think when Asher Sharma took over, this was definitely there. Like, hey, these closures are going to happen. I don't know if I necessarily agree with the way Xbox did it, right? I almost feel like they wish they would have just pulled the ripcord first. Like, all right, here's what's everything we're doing bad, and then kind of let Xbox Game Fest kind of get us over the hump. I think that maybe to me is my biggest complaint because, yeah, these don't just happen out of nowhere, right? I think it can, because we got to bring somebody new in. We're going to bring in Asher Sharma. She's going to have to make these tough choices, but why do it in this order, Drew? Why do it in a way that now gives us a bad taste as opposed to put Asher Sharma in, have her kind of go, you know, rip everything apart, get all the dogs out, and then let Xbox Game Fest kind of save you? I think that might have been the better strategy because right now it just, you know, almost had more questions. Like, what if Gears of War? What is suddenly, could Gears of War flop even though it seems hype because of how much pressure it has? I think this was expected, Drew, but I don't like the way they did it.
And I understand that too, right? For sure. I definitely get where you're coming from. There's a lot of concern here. Why would you do this to us? This is like so backwards, right? Because we left Xbox Showcase on such a high note that, like, what could go wrong? Wow, man, you had no idea what was coming because this studio is gone, that studio is gone, this studio. I'm like, what has happened? Dude, Double Fine. Tim Schafer in studio, been around for like 30, 40 years. Actually, I'd probably go closer to 40 now at this point. That's how old that studio is because I played their games back in the day. Dude, I played Full Throttle. I played Grim Fandango. Those are fantastic games during my childhood that I will never forget. And they're about to shutter the studio if Tim Schafer and team can't come to the table. Granted, dude, they made Kiln, which wasn't going to hit with too many people, but it sounded like more of a side project than their actual main project, like a Psychonauts or a Keeper, for instance, right? So, but our industry needs these quirky, unique, artsy, craftsy, artsy-fartsy studios like a Double Fine that we're losing more of over as the years go on, right? PlayStation just shut down Pixel Opus. They made Concrete Genie. Fantastic game. And then they shut them down. I'm like, man, more of these small studios. I'm now worried on the PlayStation side for Media Molecule. And if their next game doesn't go well, if they're going to be cut because they are so weird and out there and unique that something like Dreams comes out and people are like, what the hell is this? And then they get in and people like either flock to it or they don't. And it's the don't flock to where Double Fine is sitting at right now, along with these other studios that are up in the air. I've even heard rumors right now of Ninja Theory being on the chopping block as well for their stuff, right? Like it's, Arcane is who I meant to say, on the chopping block with the game Blade. Dude, they're working on Marvel's Blade right now. I'm like,
that's crazy. Yeah.
Well, wait a second. So the rumor right now that we've heard is that Double Fine is getting closed, unless they can figure it out. Ninja Theory is pretty well done, right? And their Hellblade series, and they're looking for funding or help or somebody to take over Senua. From there, Compulsion Games, the creators of, they did Contrast back on PlayStation 4, and they did South of Midnight once they got purchased and bought by Xbox. Dude, that was, from what I've also seen, is a $100 million project. That is a lot of money, dude. A lot of money for a game to be South of Midnight. So there's definitely some concerns warranted. And then, the Arcane thing is a huge concern. There's, what can Xbox do to turn this around, Michael? Anything?
Oh, I don't know how, right? I mean, at this point, we need Gears of War to be the greatest, one of the best-selling, at least Xbox titles of all time, which I don't even know if that can live up to it. I mean, I think this is one of those where I don't think it's possible right now where you and I sit for anyone.
Yeah.
To figure out how Xbox gets out of this, right? This is something that we gotta wait 6 months to a year to see what the new state of Xbox is. What does Gears of War E-Day do when it releases? Clockwork Revolution, when that comes out, how does that do, right? The other Xbox exclusive title. Project Helix, right? I mean, this to me almost feels like we are in the weeds until Project Helix comes out, and if it kind of can do everything that you and I have talked about that it can do, right? Basically becoming a mini PC, and if people buy it for the price, it might sell like hotcakes if it kind of becomes that merger of console and PC gaming. I don't think there's an immediate solution. I really think that we're kind of now, if you're Xbox, we're back to where we started, if not worse, right? Which is second fiddle to Sony. Not really, you kind of look and you say, what games do you bring to the table if you're Xbox? Because a lot of the games that, studios that we knew were being shut down.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really don't know what you do if you're Xbox, right? If this was your plan all along, they clearly had to have a backup plan, or a succession plan, I should say. So we'll see those steps, I guess, start to emerge. But, I mean, yeah, I went from, all right, Xbox is back, man. Like, they might actually finally take down Sony to, like, are we even going to get Project Helix? Like, is that something that people are even going to buy? Because, you have just ruined all of the good faith that you built up. You have just ruined, not intentionally, but
sure,
just in the order you decided to do your events in.
So one of the co-founders of Moon Studios, Thomas Maller, made a comment and made a post saying how this is actually what he feels is a good thing for Xbox. To then rebuild, right? Start from the ground up. It feels like by the time 2026 ends, Xbox will not be the Xbox we once knew, right? It is going to be what will feel like a brand new company. It will have fewer studios. The biggest thing for me. Okay, let me just So it's just there's so many thoughts, right? So Thomas goes on and he lists, like, they've always struggled with their identity of what they are, because we got into the 360 era. They found their place. They had Halo. They had the multiplayer, right? That was Xbox. You get into the Xbox One, TV, Call of Duty, TV, Call of Duty. Like, that was, they didn't know which way to go. And then you had to always be online, and then they had to backtrack on that. They didn't lock in and hold themselves accountable. They just shifted like a snake going through the sand, right? They couldn't figure out which way to go. Then they get into Series X and S. Now we have two SKUs. You have to build for both, and that's a struggle with some companies who can't build for the S because it's not nearly as powerful as the X, and the X is just easier to work with, right? But you have to be on both. Okay, well then you're not going to get this game. You're not going to get that game. You're not getting... So many people just skip out. Right now, Moon Studios themselves are about to launch No Rest for the Wicked on consoles. Whoa. Sorry. They're about to launch 1.0 on PlayStation. Why aren't they launching on Xbox? Because of the Series S. That's the issue, right? The Series S is the problem.
Yeah.
I get you want to cut costs. I get you want to build people into your ecosystem. You want to, hey, here's a cheaper console. I know a lot of people who bought that console. And it works well for them. But you don't get every game because of what you did. Right?
Yeah.
Project Helix sounds like a whole other can of worms that they're about to jump into. Right? This PC hybrid thing. And it's going to be a premium product, according to Sarah Bond, who's no longer obviously with the company. And then Asher Sharma now is taking a look at it going, okay, how do we lower the cost of this freaking device? Because it is going to be outrageous by the sounds of things. $1,500? You ever pay $1,500 for a console, Michael?
No. As I talked about, I think the price in the end, if you look at everything that it can do, I think the price is going to be a lot fairer than people think. But I think, as you said, it's that first reaction, right? You walk into a Walmart or a Best Buy or wherever you go to get your consoles, right? And you go, what? Like, that's, especially, right, at least in the United States. I know in Canada, right, I think the PlayStation maybe had a comma in one of their prices eventually there up in Canada. But in America, right, it's not one of those. We're not used to seeing commas of price tags for our consoles.
Sure.
So, yeah, I think, as you said, they've completely fumbled the ball since, the Xbox that we grew up with.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I think... I'm so mad at the way they did this, right? Like, just have Sharma come in and just be the bad guy right off the rip, right? But I think the biggest problem to me was she started building this goodwill. Oh, we're going to bring back Xbox. Oh, we're going to try and go back to the Xbox. He said all the right things, but have her say that while she's being the villain, right? To me, building up all this hype just to kind of kick this chair out from under us at the last minute. I think that to me is what really is frustrating me about this last few days of announcements. You and I have been talking back and forth, like, what the hell's going on? This is ridiculous. It's like, as you said, we were so hyped at the end of their showcase, right? It was really like, it's a brand new Xbox. And I just wonder if they had done things differently. Maybe they're worried about the backlash during their event. But if you had just done things differently, I wonder where you and I would be today if it had. You and I were all doom and gloom, and then we watched the showcase. We go, man, Gears kind of looks pretty sick. Obviously, Senua wouldn't have been able to be in the showcase for obvious reasons, but Clockwork Revolution, that looks pretty cool. I really just think, to me, the biggest issue is just the order of operations for Xbox. Once again, they're their own worst enemy. As you said, they just cannot figure out what they want to do. This goes back, as you said, to the always online, never sharing games, the 2 SKUs. This is just, to me, the latest in blunders by Xbox of just, you don't know how to order your announcements properly to kind of leave people in the right mindset.
So Asha sat down and she had an interview, and she's talking about when she joined, this was her first 100 days. It was to listen and to assess. So is it a timing thing that she comes in and now here comes the wave of Asha? I also now wonder, because of Phil leaving the way he did so abruptly, even though there's a political PR statement out there saying this was all part of the discussion. I'm like, nobody buys it, right? But it's one of those things, they wanted Phil to do this, and Phil's like, I ain't doing this.
That's what it feels like.
Right?
That's what it feels like.
So they have all this money invested. Asha is like, okay, well, this studio is not pulling the weight. We're closing them. We're going to close them. We're going to close them. We are not going to wait 7 years for Fallout 5. Bethesda, you're getting another studio to work with you to pump that out. Why? Because Fallout 5 is going to generate millions of dollars, right? The Elder Scrolls 6. We're going to team you up with another studio to work on that. So in Exile, the developers behind Clockwork Revolution are now teaming up with Bethesda to work on Fallout 5, is the latest rumor we've heard. Which, we keep talking about all these games, how long they take in development. Is this one of the reasons why Asha's come in and go, man, we can't do this anymore? You're going, and you're going because you took this long to make South of Midnight Compulsion games, and we can't afford $100 million. You're done. Or did she take a look at Expedition 33 and go, man, they made that with $10 million. What the hell are we doing over here? Right? Like, dude, it swept Game of the Year across all showcases.
Yep.
Across all award events. Somebody's got to take a look at that and go, hey, Naughty Dog, you've been working on Intergalactic for like almost a decade. You can't do this anymore, right? I saw, who was it? Warhorse Studios made a comment saying the size of Ubisoft should have produced 7 Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 titles by now. And we're still waiting on Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Oh, don't get me started.
I had to.
I mean, it comes back to what we were talking about with Bungie, though, right? I think a lot of the problem with these big companies, the Ubisofts, the Xbox sort of branded companies, right, is, when we talk about it all the time, it gets bogged down in all this leadership, right? There's all these leadership roles. You can talk about it in any job you want, right? There's always these upper management that kind of bog everything down. They take up salary, they take up time, and they have to do something to look busy, right? And you always kind of see, like, okay, like, you submit something to try and get to the boss, and it's going to go through 9 different guys' hands. They've all got to make sure that they put their stamp on it so they justify for their payment, right? And I think that's kind of where these Warhorse Studios, these, Expedition 33s kind of have sort of shot to the top, right? They don't have these bosses to answer to, Drew. They don't have to get 9 different check marks before it lands on Ash's desk of like, hey, this is what we want to do for South of Midnight. Oh, well, this guy took 2 weeks to respond, and then this guy took another 2 weeks. It took us 8 weeks just to try and get it to your desk. So I think that's one of those where unfortunately the upper management have them friends above them, and that kind of prevents them from being laid off, as you alluded to with Bungie, right? But that's, I think, really where these companies like Sony and Xbox, I think, have to start taking a look. Is like, what does this guy do? You know, what is that? What does this guy do besides check a few boxes and give completely meaningless feedback? Right. I think that's how you kind of clear these games up. Because I would love to know when you take a game, you know, like a South of Midnight, right? How long was that just waiting for a different approval process, right? How long were these games stuck waiting for someone else to approve them? And I think that's why we're seeing sort of the rise of indie titles, right? They don't have to make the shareholders happy. They just have to make the person who's making them happy and make that person money. And sometimes they do, and they go absolutely crazy, right? Balatro, great example, right? I mean,
one person.
Exactly. One person. What? Vampire Survivors, another game that kind of swept everybody, has now got a sequel, right? I think that's where these companies have got to start looking through. I just don't think that they have the power or the will to kind of look at their friends and say, like, you don't do anything here, and instead they go after the you know, the developers and the people who actually worked on the games.
It's funny. So I did up an article and I posted it on our Substack and thegamerstheory.com. It's Xbox killing their creativity. Right, because when you close a Double Fine, that's one of your most creative outlets you have. What do you rely on instead? Call of Duty. God damn it. Like, I get how much money Call of Duty makes. I understand it is a juggernaut title. But, come on. Not all of us care about Call of Duty. I really just don't give a shit. I really don't care about Call of Duty anymore at all. Do I want to play the campaign? Maybe. Even that, I'm like, probably not. I ain't touching the multiplayer. But I know millions upon millions of people do, because that's their game of the year. That's what they go to play. They have a console to play Call of Duty, right? I'm like, all right, that's cool. You go do you, and there's nothing wrong with that. At the same time, there's so many others out there like us that are looking for something else, something fresh, something exciting. And thank God we have indies. That's saving our industry. Our industry right now is getting more built off of indies than it is the AAA studios, because they can't develop a game in a timely manner whatsoever and then do well at it, right? Like, we see so many games come out and fail, Marathon, right? Concord, unfortunately. Like, I know a lot of people put their heart and souls into these games too. Like, I'm not just shitting on a game. I'm just saying these games aren't connecting. So somebody's got to take a look at these. But when they take so long to develop, so if you do a survey as a developer, right? So I attended this event in Toronto, and the one guy talked about how they go to develop their next game. And what they do first is that they actually survey people about the genre that they're into right now, the kind of games they play, this, that, and the other. I'm like, okay, but that is now. So if you do this in 2026, Michael, all that data you're pulling in might not mean a damn thing by the time you get to 2030. And that's only 4 years away, because the industry moves so quick that if you can't produce something in a year or two, you're probably not going to be successful enough to matter, right? It's the indies who are taking the chances and go, I didn't do a survey. I just wanted to make this because I thought it was cool. Hey, look, so does everybody else think it's cool. And here we get the Balatros, we get the Vampire Survivors, we get these other titles that people are like, it's made with a handful of people, not 800 people. Yeah. Like, it's just... Go ahead.
I mean, we just to go on that surveys, right? I feel like we see it all the time. I think Marathon might be a perfect example, right? You can tell as a consumer when you get that AAA game that felt like it was a attempt to chase the trends as opposed to actually made by people who enjoy it, right? I think Marathon falls right into that, right? That was chasing that extraction shooter trend, that people, the extraction shooter golden cow that it feels like AAA has been trying to do, and some indies ever since Escape from Tarkov kind of exploded, right? And that's, I think, the other problem that we also seem to see in our industry, especially in these AAAs, right? Is you see something, Balatro might be unique enough, right? But, you know, there's a game like a Balatro, like a Vampire Survivors. It's this game that absolutely explodes, and then we get like 3 or 4 AAA copies like 5 years later when it's already missed the mark, right? It just is. But Call of Duty, speaking of, an extraction shooter is what's apparently coming to DMZ, and you go like, it is, we are 5 years removed from when that was, you know, at the peak of its power. Why are we doing this, right? And so, yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that, unfortunately, as you said, the development time is so long that when you get these people who are like, okay, we need to see what the people want to play. I can tell you, if you gave me one of those surveys, I fill it out, by 2030, I might not even want to play that game. I mean, that is the biggest problem, right? Like, I'll admit that's probably something I would fall victim to. Like, man, right now I really want to play this. 5 years from now, am I going to want to play that? I don't think so. And I think we really, unfortunately, Drew, we've got to the point where these games are so expensive. We've gotten away from giving studios the ability to say, hey, make what you're passionate about. If it's good, people will buy it. Problem is, even if it's good, it costs so much damn money that it's impossible to make the investment back.
Well, and that's just it, because okay, well, let's talk about Ubisoft for a second, Beyond Good and Evil 2. Because it's taken so long, and they've had some like their main creative director unfortunately passed away, like just out of nowhere, right? Like, what a heartbreaking turn of events. But say that doesn't happen, we're still 8 years in production. Like, this is over a decade now in production. There is no way Ubisoft will make half of the money back on this game.
No.
Right?
I want to know what that figure is right now.
Dude, I'd love to know what they spent on making. I don't understand why they haven't canceled it. I really don't understand. And for me, as a Beyond Good and Evil fan, I'm like, cool. If you want to give me 2, I'm going to play it. But I'm really curious as to A, B, and C and why we're still getting this game. It's so weird, but they'll never make that back, right? Intergalactic, when it comes out from Naughty Dog, will make a ton of money. But will it recoup everything? Right? James Bond 007 First Light just came out. You and I played it. You and I loved it.
Yeah.
We reviewed it we reviewed it on the podcast with Caleb from Cinelinx. Shout out to Caleb. That launched and is starting to make its money, but it hasn't broke even yet, right? And it's sold millions. Like, that's the issue. Is that why do these games cost so freaking much to make? Like, it's just absurd. When you take a look at the credits and the credits roll, so I beat, you and I talked about it, just First Light. Yeah. Dude, did you watch the credits? I'm like, man, it keeps going. And it keeps going. It keeps going. I'm like, what are all these people doing? Now, obviously, at the end of the day, they made a fantastic game. The game is absolutely outstanding. But I'm like, man, that is a shit ton of people, which is why your bottom line is up so high. Then how do you recoup all that, right? You hope that it sells. I was like, damn. It's incredible the fact that we don't pay $150 to $200 a game.
We'll see on June 25th, right? I mean, that's been the worry for so long that GTA 6 is going to sort of revolutionize the price point again. You know, it's been a while. We'll see, right? There were rumors of $100. It wouldn't shock me if it maybe goes up to 80, right? 60 to 70.
Nah, you Americans.
Was a big outcry, and now 70 is just the standard. So yeah, it wouldn't shock me if all of a sudden GTA is 80, and then you wait a little bit, and then people start following suit, right?
That's regular for us over here in Canada. Like, yeah, I looked at Crimson Desert right now. There's 2 SKUs. Standard, $89.99. That is standard.
Get out of here, man.
And
That's crazy.
and then there's the deluxe edition for like $105. And all you get with it is like some armor set for the main guy and some armor set for your horse. I'm like, it's horse armor.
The infamous horse armor strikes again.
Man, I'm full of them today. I'm on fire. Yeah, it's but that's what we live with over here in Canada. So when GTA comes out and you can pre-order it on the 25th, it's going to be a $90 price tag, and then there's going to be another SKU at $110, and then there's going to be another SKU, I almost guarantee it, at $150. And people will eat it up.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I'm sure part of it is that sort of recoup, right? But that's kind of the way a lot of these games have gone, right? The 3 SKUs, I think, is pretty standard, right? Standard, Ultimate, and then Giga Premium Ultimate, or whatever stupid name they give it.
Yeah.
But a big thing that they give people with, right, is that early access, right? Almost every title nowadays, you pay the double the standard price, you get all this other microtransaction crap, but you get to play 4 days early, right? And I think that is, the way they're going. And I mean, it's clearly, I guess, kind of working, but and then when you get a game that doesn't do that, you get all hyped, and then that game studio gets shut down because they didn't make any money. So
yeah,
it's I almost wonder if the Epic store, which I've even heard this model starting to go away, if the Epic model of, all right, we have our cash cow, it's Fortnite, it's going to fund everything we do, right?
Sure.
We
Yeah.
accept that everything else we do is going to lose money because Fortnite is going to make us that money back.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't know if Xbox, I mean, Microsoft owns Call of Duty or owns Activision, who makes Call of Duty. So I wonder if maybe that's like a pipeline you can go on where, all right, Call of Duty is going to make us X amount. We still want to make some profit, so subtract whatever. But now we have a number that we can kind of spend, and it's okay if these other studios lose money because Call of Duty is going to make, as you said, all this money back. I don't know if that's a viable business model. That's what Epic has been going on. I've heard people say that even Epic is starting to run out of money and Fortnite is starting to take hits. But I wonder if that's kind of the model you have to go to, is like find your cash cow. I don't know what Sony would even have to go with, right? Because they're more of those single players. Is it God of War? How does they do that? But it's like find your cash cow, let them make all the money for your studio, and then that gives you maybe more freedom to let these South of Midnights, these kiln titles kind of, I don't want to say flop, but not make money, but not have to immediately shut out the studio, right? Because that's the other problem. You and I talk about it all the time. It's not unique to Xbox. Tons of studios where it's like, all right, release the game. All right, oh, you didn't. Sorry, you only made $100 million. We got to shut you down, right? You had to make $300 million. So I don't know if that's maybe a different model, because it just feels like, right now the model we have, Drew, just does not work.
Dude, I've been saying this now for quite a while. Our industry is broken. Like, that's where we're at. Our industry is just absolutely broken. From the journalism side right down to the game development side to the gamers themselves. I think our industry overall is just broken. And I don't know. It's funny because it's the biggest industry that has made the most amount of money in entertainment. It is the biggest successful year we are about to have had. And then GTA 6 drops this year, which will just skyrocket. And then we'll never make that number again. We'll never meet that number until GTA 7 comes out in 20 years. Right? Like, that's just going to be one of those things.
I mean, yeah.
So what do we do? So like you say, Fortnite is starting to take its hits, right? Fortnite is not the title it once was. It came in, lit the world up by storm. You saw one tournament go up after another. You saw Ninja rise, quickly fall. You saw others rise, they fell, right? Like, the 5 minutes of fame is legit. It is, you're cool. And Ninja, I thought, was very smart about it too. Here's a whole tangent, but either way, because he knew this wasn't going to last, right? He knew, okay, I'm going to take it while I can. I'm at the top. Let's ride it out. Him, Dr. Lupo. And now they're kicking around, but the only major, but I'm not into that streaming scene either. So, but it is one thing, like, Ninja's still kicking around. Tim the Tap Man's still doing his thing, and he's a Call of Duty guy as well, right? So all these big streamers are still viable. But when Fortnite dropped, Ninja was like king, right? So, but everybody, as Epic banks on that and pulls all those funds, now they have nothing left, because now as Fortnite crashes, starts coming down in numbers, popularity, the events aren't the events they once were, right? That shock value isn't there as it was. So Xbox doesn't have anything remotely close that is like that. I think one of their biggest struggles is the fact that they renamed 343 Industries to Halo Studios. I think that is one of the stupidest moves in gaming history. I think it is one of the biggest fuck-ups they have ever done. And what a mistake, because now they've locked themselves into Halo. Halo is over, Michael. They're going to launch Campaign Evolved. People are hyped for it. They're going to, cool. We'll play it. They jump in. I guarantee 90% of the people do not finish the campaign. They don't even finish it. And then they wait for the next Halo game, and it's going to be the same thing. And then people come back and go, oh, the multiplayer is so good. And it lasts for 2 months, tops. And then they bounce. Halo Studios should have stayed as 343 Industries. And then from there, created a new IP. Stop going on the coattails of Bungie with Halo. They need something else. They don't have a mascot whatsoever, because Master Chief isn't what he once was. People are now more deeply connected to story-driven narrative characters that have a heart, a soul, and a purpose. Now I know I'm getting some people right upright right now because that's my Master Chief. Whatever. I get it. You love your characters, and I think Chief is a cool character, but at the end of the day, man, my kids don't give a shit about Halo. And that's who they need to now work towards, getting that audience as well as keeping us around, Michael. And Xbox isn't going to do that. What does this look like now for the future of not only Halo, but because of Xbox chasing Halo for so long and not opening their eyes just to put it away and freaking create something else? They are back in this pocket of history and trying to relive the history that Xbox grew up on throughout the 360 era. Man, that's 2 generations back already, and you struggled for 2 generations for a reason. Move on, create something new, take a chance. And that's what they're not doing. And this is why they're in the position they are in. You go over to PlayStation, they're always iterating. Let's take a look at Nintendo. They never iterate really that far because there's always one Mario game around the corner from another one, and it sells like hotcakes. But Nintendo is Nintendo, and Nintendo does what Nintendo does, and it works. PlayStation, though, is their biggest competition when it comes to Xbox, and they're running away for a reason because they come out with new IPs that matter to people, that have heart, that have story, and that have weight and connect with gamers. Xbox has just been in the past, and they've been stuck for too long, and I hope Asher Sharma comes in and figures that out and then puts them on the path that they need to be.
I think you nailed it, right? I mean, I think everything you said is 100% accurate. I mean, you and I have talked about, okay, you know, if Gears of War sells really well, where do you go next? You can't bring Marcus and Dom back. We've seen their story, right? So, yeah, I think you've absolutely nailed it, right? I think, again, it is, you know, it's kind of like that fork in the road meme, right? Where, you know, if you're Xbox, right, you have Sony who innovates. You can go that way, which is probably the way it should go. Or you kind of have what you could have done, right, with Nintendo, right? You could have slopped out a Halo game every single year. You could have spit out a Gears of War game every single year. You could have picked your iconic characters just like Nintendo does with Mario, with Pokemon, with Star Fox, with all that. But you didn't do that either, right? You kind of tried to take this like middle ground, and it clearly didn't work. So, yeah, I think, as you said, I think this is going to be something where Asher Sharma is going to have to basically rebuild Xbox from the ground up. I don't know if that's a good thing because they kind of already were in last place. So if you're starting at the bottom, does starting over even lower make any difference? That's hard. It's hard to say. I really don't know. I think to me this is all banking on Helix, right? It feels like now if you're Xbox, your new goal is make Helix affordable, but make it do so many things we've never seen done before that it is the de facto purchase for every single gamer. And by that, I mean it's got to run Steam. I know Epic does the same thing, but Steam has that value, and it's got to run console games. If you can somehow sell a all-in-one console PC hybrid, I think Xbox from there kind of goes to what we had talked about, what they kind of did, right? We're going to sell you the console, the games or whatever, but we're going to sell you the best console on the market. I think that is kind of the way Xbox has to go going forward, is make Helix the best console on the market, give people the access to the largest library in the world, and kind of let that be what revives you almost kind of take a third route, right? Who cares about games? We'll give you whatever. We're going to really push for multi-platform when we can. We're just going to give you the best available console. And I think that, to me, Drew, is the savior of the future of Xbox. And I don't know if it's a terrible thing, but it all relies around, one, Steam green lighting to be on Helix when they have their own Steam machine.
Yeah.
The game's not running like crap on your Helix compared to a similarly priced gaming PC. If they can pull those two things off, I think Asher Sharma is going to have Xbox in a brand new direction. I just don't know if they can pull that off.
Yeah, I like where you're dreaming. But like, I don't know if they can do.
Hope, right? Like, I want to say, like, you can't copy PlayStation. You can't just become, we're going to be the story guys because PlayStation has years on you. You can't just say we're going to become the guys who put out slop of our main characters every year, 6 times a year, because Nintendo already did that. They've got to forge their own path, Drew. They've tried just about everything else, right? And it's always been wrong. So third time's the charm, right? We've failed with Always Online, which I don't know who they thought would enjoy that. We failed with 2 SKUs, which, as you pointed out, I get why, like, okay, we're going to make you a cheaper console, but it didn't work for other reasons. Third time, give us the hybrid console, and maybe you're back.
Yeah, that's they got to make it affordable, man. You cannot price that thing at $1,200, $1,500. You have to take a massive loss. Xbox has been taking massive loss for years. Might as well keep it going. right?
I think you really got to make your advertising on point, right? You have, if you're going to charge the $1,400 that the console's worth, if you can do the advertising in a way that shows people just how good of a value this is, I think it'll work through. But Xbox, as we know from this is an Xbox and that is an Xbox and everything is an Xbox, their marketing department sucks. So I don't have any faith in them being able to pull that off. But
yeah,
I mean, Sony won the console wars on a commercial, Drew. The commercial where the guy hands him the game and says, "This is how you share games on PlayStation," well, literally was the defining moment of when Sony rocketed ahead. If Xbox can pull off a commercial that proves why the Helix is so great, I think they can do it. I just have no confidence they can pull that off.
Yeah. We will see by the end of 2027 or the end of 2026.
2027. I think 2027. No. I think your first statement was right. I don't think we learned anything at the end of this year. I guess all we're gonna get is like, okay, Gears of War did really great. What's next? Like, I don't.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I think your statement was right. At the end of 2027, Drew, I think is when we can finally see where Xbox is at.
Man, I just want to see by the end of 2026 if we're still saying this is the return of Xbox. That's Asher Sharma's tagline. Are they gonna be able to pull it off? Well, and there's a lot of red flags right now when you're shutting down one talented, unique studio after another. Man, this one hurts. But Michael, what doesn't hurt is what we've been playing for our indie spotlight. This is where we end off each and every week's podcast. Yep. Right at the end, we list 2 indie spotlight teams that you should check out their game. Michael, I'm going to send it to you first. What are you highlighting? What is this, dude?
I'm talking about Mecha Chameleon, Drew, as we talk about all the time on this podcast. I am the friend slop guy, and this is peak friend slop. It is a twist on an old genre, the prop hunt genre. Everybody knows it from either Gary's Mod or whatever, but instead of turning into different props, I guess the best way to say it is imagine the kind of the man who marks the male bathroom at a public area, right? Put him in 3D, and he's all white. And then you have to paint yourself as a chameleon would to blend in with the background, right? So instead of like, oh, I'm going to try and be some crazy prop or whatever, it's, okay, how do I blend in? Like, there's a party room. How do I become like a balloon, right? Or, you know, we've had some crazy moments already with our buddies of like, what if I like put myself on the light and I just, the glare of the light is so bright that you just end up winning, right? And it's been a ton of fun. And props to them. This is something that's I think companies have done. You can debate if it's shady or not. The community-made maps are what carry this game, right? They're doing a great job of their own maps, but you can download any community map. Last night, we played a full, detailed version of CS2 Mirage. Literally one-to-one version of CS2 Mirage for prop hunt, or I guess hiding, because, you know, you're not a prop. Again, Terminal for Modern Warfare 2, we did that as well. There's just letting the community, there's a full Minecraft village, by the way, which is absolutely a ton of fun. Some guy was like a piece of wheat and he hid for like 10 minutes straight. It was awesome. So I think it's something that they've done so well, and a lot of games have done this, and you can debate whether or not it's scummy because you're basically letting the community make money for you, but they've allowed people to make their own maps, and it's like, I remember that. Yeah, let's do CS2 Mirage. That sounds sick. What about CS2, you know, Dust? Let's do these different iconic, you know, maps from different games. It's an absolute blast, though. Again, it is peak friend slop. It's a fun little twist on the prop hunt genre, and you get to see whether or not you're good at painting, which I am not. So I always just go for the, like, hide on a solid color wall, paint myself that color. But I've got friends, they're like, there's a rainbow you can hide in, and they perfectly match the rainbow. And I'm like, I'm not that smart. So, but it's a ton of fun, Drew. What about you? What have you been checking out?
All right, so I made mention of this at the top of the show. I've been playing with a couple of buddies, my good friend Kyle and Nate, and we've been playing, which it's funny because the studio is not the smallest studio when you talk indie, because they're about 70 people deep, right? So it's definitely on the larger scale, but they classify themselves as a smaller team, not AAA, and then you'd even question almost a AA. But Mistfall Hunters, dude. Mistfall Hunter is hitting at such a level for me right now. I played earlier and got in some early access playtests. And right now they've got the Steam Next Fest going on. And this is one of the highlights for me. It is absolutely incredible. You have your little hub world. I've teamed up with Kyle and Nate, and we head out. And it is a melee focused, more or less, extraction game with this almost a Elden Ring feel with the characters, the creatures you're fighting, and they've got a couple different maps. Then you go out and you gather stuff, but they classify it as an action RPG extraction game. You come back, there's a whole story interweaved with the experience, and I'm slowly building up my characters. And last night, this is where you know you're having a good time and you still get mad, right? So last night, me and my buddy Kyle, we head out and we did one round. We got some good stuff. I came back. I'm like, man, look at this mask I've got. This thing is killer looking. I've got a blue level sword. I'm like, I've got some high tier stuff going on here that I've slowly started to grind away and work my way up at. And then we're like, okay, one more game. We're going to go and we'll go one more round, right? It's always the one more round that screws you over. Yeah. I was like, damn it. I knew it. I freaking knew it. So we get out there and because it's only two of us, we're like, well, the first game didn't pair us up with anybody. It was just the two of us. We went and came back. Second game, we get paired up with our third person, just some random, which is fine. Away we go. And then in this area, this one area, it's not locked down, but it's a big boss fight that this other team is fighting. I'm like, ooh, do we go mess them up? Dude, I've been on a roll of crushing people. Right? I'm like, I got some high level tier stuff here. I might be okay to pull this off. And then I'm like, no, I've got some high level tier stuff. I want out of here. Let's get out of here, man. So we kind of go around them and then we start bouncing over here. We grab a couple more things and whatever. But the way the game gets you out of the level is you got to find this woodling thing. And it's a bell creature. It's a bell-like creature that will fight you, but you got to start the process of it. So you call this tree is in the ground, you find the tree, you go to it, you light it up, and then send some fairies across, and then you go chase that, and then it counts down for a minute as this bell surfaces from the ground. As it surfaces, you then have to kill it to take the bell to then extract you out. Okay, so you kill the bell, and then you ring the bell, all right? So all three of us are trying to do this. One rando does it, gets away. My buddy Kyle's doing it. I'm like, I don't have my thing. And those damn people, Michael, came out of nowhere and flanked me and Kyle and just annihilated us. I'm like, what level were these guys at? Because they just crushed us in seconds. I was like, man, I didn't stand a chance at this. But I was like, yo, I gotta jump back in. This game is freaking incredible. So the game comes out next month. So they're doing this play test, more or less, iron out some bugs. I'm in the Discord. I'm seeing the pop of the Discord chat all the time. Hey, we're working on this. People over in the EU, I know you're having problems getting logged in. We got you. We got this fixed, that fixed, da 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 da. Any other issues? Hit us up over here. Very community focused on getting people resolved quickly so they can go play the game. And then when you get back to the hub world, dude, I got a full stash full of stuff. I'm crafting up new things. I've unlocked the blacksmith. There's a whole shop over here. There's this guy named Pip and his buddy, and he gives you special rewards and challenges and things like this. And man, there's 6 classes right now. Like, this is just the beginning. I cannot wait to see where else they take this. I'm playing as the Withered Knight, and I am having an absolute blast. Can't recommend playing it enough. It's right now out on Steam Next Fest. There's a demo you can go try out and play. Same thing I'm playing right now. I'm playing it out on Xbox because that's where they're launching. I think it's on PlayStation as well. So there's definitely opportunities for people to jump in, hang out, and try your extraction melee game. It's not an extraction shooter, but you can be a ranged character as well. So there are some different opportunities to change, but you can't snipe somebody from across the map. So I don't think you're going to do that. But yeah, love the feel. Love the atmosphere and the characters and the creatures you're fighting, and then these boss creatures are just wild, man. There's just this giant ball with arms on it, and it was yeah,
it is Elden Ring vibes. You're right. Okay.
Yeah, dude, and it really like took some heavy inspiration from the character design stuff. I freaking love it. It is so much fun. I'm addicted. Just want to play that. Like, I'm talking to my buddy Colin, like, dude, maybe we just play this tomorrow. Like, I got work to do, but man, maybe not. We'll see. But yeah, that's gonna wrap up Theory Unlocked, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us as always. If you're catching this over on our YouTube channel, hit that like, subscribe button, of course. And you're catching over on the podcast side of things, you know what to do. Same thing over there. And until next time, everybody, I'm Drew, that's Michael, and we'll see you in Theory Unlocked.